Week 9 on the Pacific Crest Trail started with frozen boots. And despite the beautiful views that we got to start the morning with, it was not my morning. Besides the frozen boots and literally having to thaw them out before I could tie them, I just did not feel good and was starting the day really slow. Yesterday, we had a water crossing right before camp, and this morning I woke up and my boots were completely frozen. So that sucked this morning. It is the start of week 9 on the Pacific Crest Trail, and I'm pretty sure it's day 57. And yeah, I can't say it's going off to a great start because I am freezing this morning. The view's beautiful, but yeah, I'm pretty cold. Even though I slept well, I'm pretty tired. It's that kind of week. So yeah, but we don't have any passes to hike over today, so hopefully today will be just a little bit more manageable. But I also just think it's going to be really tiring for me. So, but I'll make it through. But for now, I got to put down my phone because there's a little creek crossing, and I can't risk my shoes getting any wetter or colder than they already are. I knew that the terrain and the environment out here in the Sierras was tougher, but it was still frustrating that after 9 weeks, that some days I still felt like I had absolutely no trail legs. But I tried to remind myself that the elevation and the terrain were different from what I was used to, and I had to give my body grace while it still tried to figure out what we were doing. I'd much rather be tired here than tired behind a desk. Today is one of those very, very rare days for me on trail where part of me wishes that I was at home on the couch reading a book just because of like how bleh I feel today. But in the same vein, it's also, I think, a Tuesday, and so that means I'd probably have to be at work today. So in that vein, I would not rather be home. I'd rather be out here with these beautiful mountains, even if I feel like trash today. So being out here feeling like trash is still better than being in an office. Though some days I wish I could just lay in bed. Although I say that maybe I'd like to be on the couch, I think if I were on the couch, I would have been dreaming of mountain views like these. Right before we reached our lunch spot for the day, 2 things happened. We saw a grouse, aka a forest chicken, which is just what I call them for funsies. And I also was either so tired or so enamored by the grouse that I made a wrong step, rolled my ankle, and it just added on to the challenge of the day. I could say that the trail had it out for me, but this was our view for lunch, and I got to ice my ankle in this beautiful river. This moment was like a screensaver on your computer screen come to life. I tried to capture the way that the water was rippling and moving down this river. There was something so mesmerizing about it, along with the color and the mountains in the background, and my camera just doesn't do it justice, but just take my word for it that it was magical. After a very extended, long lunch to not only ice my ankle, but to enjoy this magical view, we finally kept walking, though I think I could have stayed here all day. That night, I slept so much better, which I was incredibly grateful for because we were up at the crack of dawn and headed out to do our next pass of the trail, Muir Pass. The morning started again with a challenge, and we had to do a water crossing in the dark. Luckily, Donkey was able to find a route across that kept our feet mostly dry, which I was incredibly grateful for, because who wants to be doing a river crossing in the dark? Although starting our hike in the dark was never my favorite thing, I did love the magic of watching the mountains light up, especially these Sierra Nevada mountains light up as we walked through them. There's nothing quite like it. Climbing up Muir Pass. Oh, this is taking forever. It's just snowfields. I'm tired. My emotions and mental state were a little bit like a ping pong ball. Whereas there were moments that I felt that I wasn't cut out for this, for being out here, because climbing up Muir Pass in the snowfields and trying to find a safe way to get up and knowing that our feet could potentially fall through was honestly for me terrifying. But then we all reached the top together and this was the view, and I was like, wow, how could I trade seeing this kind of scene for anything? I would face that fear to do this again and again and again. Though in the moment of that fear, I'm like, is it worth it? But I get to the top and it is. It truly is like another world up here in these Sierra Nevada mountains. And I know I said this last week, but I can truly understand why this section is one of people's favorites, because I know it will be one of mine as well. And then, as though the universe had heard me struggling up Muir Pass, besides the gorgeous views at the top, it also rewarded me with this adorable marmot just hopping through the snowfields. I really wanted his snowfield hopping skills, because if I could move that fast on the snowfields, I would be in a much better mental state. Our stop for lunch today was another unforgettably beautiful spot where we actually stopped and swam. Sometimes because the water's so cold, I really have to hype myself up to swim, but for this one, I knew it was so beautiful that I'd regret not getting in this water and saying that I swam in that alpine lake. Water felt extra magical after those 700 miles in the desert, and I was still feeling so grateful every time we saw a lake or a rushing river, except when I had to wade through them. Today has been really tough, but not as tough as some of the other days. Muir Pass was not as bad as some of the other ones, but I am still really tired, and the snow climb was exhausting this morning. I rolled my ankle pretty bad yesterday, so yeah, I was really worried I was gonna mess it up worse today, but it stuck out and held on and made it 20 miles down the trail today, and hopefully like another 20-ish tomorrow. So tomorrow we have Selden Pass, and then we're going into BDR. So, yeah. How lucky am I to start every morning with a laugh because Barbie is silly. Good morning. It is day 59 on the Pacific Crest Trail. Yeah, last few days have been mentally and physically kind of rough, but today I'm feeling a bit better. Feeling a little bit more like myself and not as tired, but still feeling kind of tired because the Sierras are no walk in the park. I mean, technically they are walks in parks, but you know what I mean. But yeah, the day before yesterday was a really bad day. I slipped in mud. I rolled the shit out of my ankle. I can't even remember what else happened, so it must not have been that bad, but it just was kind of a rough day. And then yesterday I was just dealing with the culmination of that. I woke up and my boots were frozen the day before, so that was fun, waking up to frozen boots. So yeah, my ankle yesterday felt okay. I felt like I could walk on it, so just went with it. I tied my boot extra tight because they weren't frozen yesterday morning. And then we went and did Muir Pass, which a lot of comments had said that it wasn't that bad. And I don't know, I need to stop reading comments is the moral of the story, because there was a section of the ascent, and it might have just been that we took the wrong route, because it was basically snowfields, and so it was kind of like a choose your own adventure. And there was a snow bridge over the creek, and there was some post holing happening, and it was really kind of a steep, snowy climb. I have some new scratches on my legs from digging my legs into the snow so that I wouldn't slide. Anyway, so yeah, that wasn't very fun for me. But after that, it kind of mellowed out, and it was more gradual snow fields and all that fun stuff. And we got to the top, and there's a shelter up there, and that's really cool. So yeah, and then we successfully got down, which it was a bunch of snowfields that were very smooth. Like, I mean, it was very slow going for me because I'm very slow in the snowfields, but it wasn't bad, or the descent wasn't scary like some of the other ones. And the lake when we got down there, oh my gosh, that's like one of the most stunning things I've ever seen. So yeah, the beauty like in between the passes is definitely what makes however tough they are worth it. So they are just so stunning. Somebody said the other day that one of the things that we were looking at was like a screensaver in motion. And that's like a great description, because they're like these things that we see on like screensavers that we only dream of, and like we're seeing them in person and moving. Anyways, so that was most of yesterday. We did a big day to do like 20 miles so we could get closer to the pass that we're doing today, which is Selden. So yeah, we are slowly starting that now. And then tomorrow we should hopefully get into Vermilion Valley Ranch, which is, we're gonna try and do another somewhat big day for the Sierras today, so we can get closer to that and do a little mini resupply to get us to Mammoth. So yeah, but again, today overall feeling much better than I have been the last few days. So yeah, that might change later. But right now, feeling good. The weather feels good. I'm excited to see some more beautiful views of the Sierras, because despite how hard they've been, it's been some of the most beautiful hiking I've ever done. So it's a good day to be on the PCT. I meant it when I said that even though this is some of the hardest hiking I've ever done, it's also some of the most beautiful. Though I will admit that I still think that the White Mountains of New Hampshire are tougher. Maybe this will get harder, but the White Mountains of New Hampshire kicked my booty. But not only was the mountain scenery gorgeous, but the wildlife scenery was amazing too. From the wild hares and, of course, the adorable little marmots that I kept seeing after every pass were like a reward. Look at how cute this little guy is, and his absolutely stunning view that he just gets to lay here and enjoy. I think I'd like to be a marmot in my second life. Though I absolutely adored getting to see most of the wildlife, I absolutely loathed the mosquitoes, and this day had been particularly full of them, so I was so grateful to get to an alpine lake and swim in the freezing cold waters to soothe my itchy bug bites. This morning, we went over Selden Pass, which physically actually wasn't that bad. It was probably the easiest pass that we've done on trail. Mentally though, it sucked because it was like a mosquito haven the entire way up, and so you couldn't stop. Like literally you couldn't, or you'd be swarmed with like 50 of them. Like even when I went to the bathroom, it was miserable. But the top, once we get to the top, there was a breeze, and so that seemed to keep them at bay. And then once we got down a little bit, we were near this beautiful alpine lake, and I actually went for my first swim because I was feeling there was a lizard, because I was feeling pretty warm, and it was beautiful. And then we just did the Bear Creek crossing, which according to Far Out is like a notorious crossing on the PCT. It wasn't like a joyous time, but it wasn't that bad. So overall, it's been a pretty good day. Oh, and at the top of Selden, I saw an adorable marmot, so that was exciting. So now we're finishing out the day and gonna get as close as we can to the Blue Blaze, to Vermilion Valley Resort. So tomorrow we can go treat ourselves to some real food. We are headed to Vermilion Valley Resort this morning. Whoa, tripping on shit. And it's mostly flat trail, at least right now. Anyways, yeah, we're headed to Vermilion Valley Resort. We are resupplying for just like another 2-ish days to get us to Mammoth. We just really didn't want to try and Jenga in 8 days worth of food in our bear cans. So we're making a little pit stop here to just get us all the way to Mammoth. But we're also just gonna like enjoy the day. They supposedly have really good food. There's a lake that we're hoping we can swim in. And yeah, we're just gonna kind of enjoy a day in the Sierras. So that's where we're headed this morning. We had left a little bit ahead of our friends that morning because I'm a slow walker, and you could see that Donkey was excited to see Barbie for the first time that day as he ran down the trail. As soon as we walked up to Vermilion Valley Resort, it looked and felt like summer camp, and we were excited to be there with so many of our friends from trail, and also to write our name on their iconic log pile. And remember how I said summer camp? Well, we basically treated this day as a day at summer camp and just hung out by the water and enjoyed good food all day and the company of each other. Barbie is always down to try new experiences on trail. So that night we stayed in one of the little cabin yurts on the Vermilion Valley property. It basically was like, I couldn't even call it glamping, but it was cool to stay in the giant yurt thing with our friends. And this pizza was to die for. The next morning, we got an early start as usual, and Barbie sneezed very loudly as we were walking out of camp. So if you were at Vermilion Valley that day and got woken up by a sneeze, it was Barbie, and I'm sorry. But we left bright and early and headed back towards the trail. We chose not to take the boat because it was going to leave too late, and we had gotten really used to early starts. And I also felt very strongly about walking the trail because that's just how I am. And the views did not disappoint with flowers and mountains all around. Though I will say I could have done without a snowfield for the day. That pizza from the night before was enjoyed again at lunch. And then, with beautiful views all around us and many more to go still ahead of us, we reached another mile marker. We reached the 900-mile mark, which simultaneously felt like it took so long to get to and not long enough. 900! We made it to 900! We're so close to 1,000 and yet so far. It is day 61 on the Pacific Crest Trail, and this morning we are booking it to catch the trolley into Mammoth because we are very excited and ready for a 0 day in town and showers. I think it's been, I don't know, I want to say like 9 days since I've had a shower. You can probably tell by the state of my hair here. But anyways, yeah, yesterday we left VVR, Vermilion Valley Resort, after a nice little break day, and we got back to the trail, and then we pushed like 20, maybe a little more than 20-mile day so that we could get closer to the little blue blaze to get off to go to Mammoth. And yeah, last night it got down below freezing, which we haven't had many of those, so that was pretty cold. I'm pretty sure I was wearing like everything I brought out here because I was really cold. But yeah, it's warming up a little bit now, but I've still got quite a few layers on. But anyways, we're moving. We're going to Mammoth, and we hit 900 miles today. So that's super exciting as always, and that means we're so close to 1,000, and that's always like a really special marker to hit. Not that all of them aren't special, but 1,000 is really kind of a big one. So yeah, excited for Mammoth. It was always so fun to get to town and to get to explore a new place that I had never been. But it's always kind of an interesting dynamic because as much as I love to go to town and explore somewhere new, I'm also always so excited to get back to trail. Though I don't think it's specifically for PCT hikers, the town of Mammoth does have a little trolley shuttle that picks you up off of a certain blue blaze and will take you into town, which is super convenient for us hikers. The first spot I headed when we got into town was, of course, the local coffee shop and then the local bakery. Both were absolutely adorable, and I enjoyed getting to wander around. But one of my top 3 places in Mammoth was this little cafe called Elixir. Every time we were in town, I was desperately searching for some healthy food to replenish the nutrients I know that I was not getting. And this place had delicious smoothies and healthy bowls. As I've mentioned a handful of times, the Pacific Crest Trail does not have hostels like the Appalachian Trail. And so when we were in Mammoth, we rented a vacation rental with a big group of our friends. It was a really nice place to stay, and it was like having an indoor sleepover with all of our trail friends. The next day, we took a full zero in town and we started it out at Stellar Brew, and then we went wandering. I, of course, had to find the local bookstore, which was so adorable, and I wished I could carry books. We headed to Gojira for lunch, and this ramen is definitely better than whatever I'm having on trail. Our friends decided that they actually wanted to go use their 0 day for rest, but because I have absolutely no chill, I continued wandering and decided to see if this loony bean was the same as my beloved one in Bishop. It's not. It was still very cute, and then to round off our day, we ended it with delicious milkshakes. It was time to see what week 10 of the PCT had in store.